The world will try to tell you who you are. It will measure you by your bank account, by your failures, by your scars, by the size of your house or the weight of your mistakes. But none of those things define you. The only thing that defines you is the voice inside that dares to declare who you will become. Once a young man stood in front of cameras, in front of critics, in front of doubters who thought they already knew his limits. He looked them in the eye and said words that shook the earth. I am the greatest. They laughed. They rolled their eyes. They called him arrogant, delusional, too loud, too brash. But what they missed is that he wasn't describing a reality. He was creating one. He wasn't speaking for them. He was speaking to his own destiny. That is the secret the world hides. You don't wait for greatness to arrive before you believe. You believe first. You speak it before you see it. You live it before you feel it. Belief is not the end of the road. It is the beginning. Belief is the seed, the spark, the raw material of everything extraordinary. And those who wait for evidence before they believe will die waiting. Thomas Edison had no evidence that his bulb would glow. Henry Ford had no evidence a car could be built for the masses. Walt Disney had no evidence his mouse could build a kingdom. And that young fighter from Louisville had no evidence that the world would bow to his fists, only the unshakable belief that he was already chosen for greatness. So let me ask you this. What words do you declare when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when no one is listening? Because that declaration, whispered in silence, is the blueprint of your future. Most people never dare to say it. They hide behind excuses, behind humility that is really fear, behind silence that is really surrender. They tell themselves, who am I to declare greatness? I'll tell you who you are. You are a creator, a fighter, a force waiting to be unleashed. And if you don't declare it, the world will bury you under its noise, under its opinions, under its mediocrity. Belief is not arrogance. Belief is alignment with what you are destined to become. But belief alone is not enough. The man who shouts, I am the greatest, and does not train, does not bleed, does not sacrifice, he is only a fool with a loud mouth. But the man who believes and disciplines himself to rise, to grind, to prepare when no one is watching, that man is unstoppable. Discipline is the proof of your belief. Discipline is belief made flesh. Discipline is what turns invisible words into visible victories. Do you know why so many people die average? It's not because they lack talent, it's because they lacked discipline. They had the dream, but not the dedication. They had the desire, but not the structure. Discipline is waking up before the sun, not because you want to, but because destiny demands it. Discipline is saying no to distractions, no to weakness, no to comfort, because comfort kills kings. Discipline is running when your legs ache, studying when your eyes burn, building when the world sleeps. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. It is not celebrated in the moment. But discipline is what separates the myth from the man, the story from the legend. And discipline without vision is empty. You must know where you are going. You must see it so clearly that nothing can shake you from it. Vision is the architect of your destiny. Vision is the picture you hold in your mind when your body screams to quit. Vision is the fire that pulls you out of bed before your alarm. Without vision, men wander. They chase what is shiny. They bow to what is popular. They drown in distractions. But with vision, a man becomes dangerous. With vision, every sacrifice has meaning. Every setback has context. Every failure becomes fuel. Walt Disney saw a castle before there was a single brick. Carnegie saw steel cities before the first beam was forged. Ali saw himself a champion before he ever touched a belt. What do you see? Do you see yourself defeated, broken, forgotten? Then that is where you will remain. But if you dare to see yourself powerful, disciplined, victorious, if you dare to hold that picture even when the world calls you crazy, then you will move mountains. Vision is not fantasy. Vision is the seed of reality, but only if you act. Action is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Action is where faith puts on shoes. Action is where belief steps into the ring. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel ready. If you wait, you will rot. The greats did not wait. They moved, they stumbled, they bled, they failed forward. Edison acted 10,000 times before he succeeded once. Lincoln acted through loss after loss until history remembered him as a savior. Jobs acted, building, tearing down, rebuilding until he held in his hand a device that changed the world. You must act, not tomorrow, not when it feels safe, now. Because time is your greatest enemy and your greatest ally. Waste it and it buries you. Use it and it crowns you. Every second is either fuel for your greatness or nails for your coffin. And if you act, you will be resisted. The world will push back. Life will test you. You will fall. You will fail. But that is where resilience is born. Resilience is the art of rising. Resilience is the conviction that pain is not punishment, it is preparation. Resilience is falling 7 times and standing up 8. Lincoln failed in business, lost in politics, buried his children, yet he stood tall enough to hold a divided nation together. Edison burned through failures the way other men burn through candles, yet his light has never gone out. Ali was beaten, mocked, stripped of titles, yet his name still echoes louder than those who tried to bury him. Resilience is not a gift, it is a choice, it is a refusal. It is the soul declaring, "You may wound me, but you will never defeat me." And resilience grows stronger when it is rooted in gratitude. Gratitude transforms pain into fuel. Gratitude turns every wound into wisdom. Gratitude is what keeps greatness from rotting into arrogance. The greatest men never forgot the dirt they rose from. They never forgot the teachers, the mothers, the struggles, the nights of hunger that built their hunger for more. Without gratitude, success feels empty. Without gratitude, you rise high, but you fall hollow. But with gratitude, every victory feels sacred. Every setback feels like a teacher. Every breath feels like proof that you were built for something larger. And when you combine belief, vision, discipline, action, resilience, and gratitude, you become unstoppable. You become undeniable. You become a force the world cannot ignore. And that is when you rise, not with arrogance, but with conviction. Not to impress the world, but to declare to yourself, "I am the greatest, because I believed before I was. Because I acted when others hesitated, because I stood when others broke, because I disciplined myself when others quit, because I was grateful when others complained, because I turned pain into power, vision into victory, belief into reality." And when you say it this time, they won't laugh, this time they won't scoff, this time they will know it was truth from the beginning. Greatness does not arrive like lightning from the sky. It is carved, it is hammered, it is molded slowly, painfully, relentlessly. The man who whispers, "I am the greatest," does not whisper it because he already holds the crown. He whispers it because he has chosen to walk the road that few dare to travel. And that road is brutal. It will strip you bare. It will break your bones and crush your pride. It will test every ounce of faith you pretend to carry. Most men quit halfway. Most men settle for comfort. Most men abandon their fire when the storms arrive. But not you. Not if you understand the truth. Every storm is a teacher. Every wound is a map. Every failure is a gift disguised in pain. You will not always win, but you will always rise. That is the creed of the great. Think of Edison burning through thousands of failures until the night itself surrendered. Think of Carnegie working as a child in a factory, yet daring to imagine steel empires. Think of Lincoln, mocked, defeated, humiliated, yet chosen by history to hold a broken nation together. None of them had an easy road, but all of them carried an unshakable belief that their path mattered, and so must you. Because greatness is not born in applause, it is born in silence. It is born in the lonely hours when no one is cheering, when no one is clapping, when the only voice left is your own. That is the moment that defines you, not the spotlight, not the victory parade, but the moment in the dark when your spirit whispers, "Get up, keep going, do not stop." Discipline will drag you forward when motivation disappears. Vision will guide your steps when the path feels unclear. Purpose will remind you why you bleed. But there is another key. Clarity. Clarity is the blade that cuts through chaos. Most men lose themselves not because they lack power, but because they lack clarity. They chase 1,000 things. They scatter their energy across distractions. They drown in noise, never focusing long enough to break through. But clarity is the sniper's focus. Clarity is knowing exactly what mountain you must climb, exactly what enemy you must conquer, exactly what destiny you must claim. The man with clarity moves faster, strikes harder, lasts longer. The man without it spends his life spinning, busy but empty, moving but never arriving. So ask yourself, what do you truly want? Strip away what your parents told you, what your friends expect, what society demands. What is yours? What burns in your chest when the world goes silent? When you know it, protect it with your life. Do not trade it for comfort. Do not surrender it to distraction. Do not betray it for applause. Because clarity without compromise creates power, and power demands responsibility. The greatest men in history did not simply rise for themselves. They rose to lift others. They rose to ignite belief in people who had lost hope. They rose so their voices could echo beyond their lifetime. Ali did not just fight for himself. He fought to inspire millions to believe in the impossible. Lincoln did not just lead for himself. He carried an entire nation on his back. Disney did not just build for himself. He created a world of wonder for generations unborn. True greatness is never selfish. It overflows, it multiplies, it infects the world with courage. And that is why you must never chase greatness only for yourself. Because if you do, your victory will taste hollow. But if you fight for something larger, something eternal, your name will outlive your breath. Purpose larger than yourself turns struggle into service, pain into power, sacrifice into immortality. But hear me, greatness also demands sacrifice. You cannot be both comfortable and great. You cannot serve two masters, ease and excellence. One must die for the other to live. Are you willing to bleed for your vision? Are you willing to be misunderstood, mocked, doubted, left alone? Are you willing to pay the price? Because the world will not hand it to you. You will pay with sweat, with tears, with failure, with nights of silence when everyone else sleeps. But in that sacrifice, you will discover your edge. You will discover the hidden parts of yourself that comfort could never reveal. The cocoon must break before the butterfly is born. The stone must be cut before the diamond shines. The soul must be pressed before its greatness is revealed. So do not fear sacrifice. Embrace it. Love it. Bow to it. It is the altar where greatness is made. And when sacrifice feels unbearable, gratitude will keep you alive. Gratitude whispers, "Look how far you've come. Look at the strength forged in fire. Look at the opportunities hidden in pain." Gratitude is not weakness. It is not blind optimism. It is the most powerful weapon you carry. It transforms every wound into wisdom. It turns every enemy into a teacher. It makes even failure serve you. And when gratitude becomes your foundation, nothing can steal your fire. But the fire must evolve because the path is long, and those who cling too tightly to yesterday will miss tomorrow. Adaptability, this is the hidden weapon of the great. The oak breaks in the storm because it resists. The reed bends and so it survives. The fighter who never changes becomes predictable. The leader who never learns becomes obsolete. Adaptability is not betrayal of vision. It is loyalty to progress. It is the wisdom to adjust the method while guarding the mission. It is the strength to pivot without losing your path. Henry Ford once said, "You can have any color car you want as long as it's black." For a time he ruled, but when the world changed, he refused to adapt and the empire slipped away. The greats who endure are not those who never fall. They are those who rise with new strategies, new weapons, new vision. You too must bend without breaking, shift without surrendering, adjust without abandoning. Adaptability is survival. Adaptability is expansion. Adaptability is the reason legends remain immortal. But adaptability without resilience is fragile. And resilience without discipline is temporary. And discipline without belief is empty. They all work together. Belief, vision, discipline, action, clarity, purpose, sacrifice, gratitude, adaptability, resilience. This is the circle of greatness. This is the creed of immortality. And when you weave them together, when you live them fully, when you carry them daily, you will no longer hope to be great. You will know it, live it, breathe it. Then the world will see what you already declared long ago. I am the greatest because I chose to believe before I was. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not the man across from you. It is not the competition. It is not the critic, nor the doubter, nor the hater. The greatest enemy is the voice inside. That voice that says, "You're not ready, you're not enough, you're wasting your time." That voice that plays every failure on repeat, that magnifies every weakness, that mocks every attempt. It is the silent assassin. It kills more dreams than failure ever could. But here is the secret. That voice only has the power you give it. Every time you obey it, you strengthen it. Every time you resist it, you weaken it. The internal war is fought not once, but every day. And the man who conquers himself has already conquered the world. Do not run from that voice. Face it, expose it, answer it. When it whispers, "You're not ready," reply, "Neither was anyone when they began." When it says, "You'll fail," respond, "Failure is the tuition I pay for mastery." When it says, "You're wasting your time," shout, "I am investing in eternity." This is the inner fight. Win here and the outer fight becomes inevitable victory because greatness begins within. The world is a mirror. It will only reflect what you believe. If you walk with doubt, the world will doubt you. If you walk with conviction, the world will bow. That is why belief is not optional. It is oxygen. It is the foundation of every empire, every invention, every revolution. But belief must be fueled. It cannot survive on wishful thinking. You must feed it. Feed it with words, with rituals, with relentless repetition. Words have power. They are seeds. Speak weakness, and weakness grows. Speak strength, and strength rises. Ali declared, "I am the greatest," long before the belts, long before the crowds. His words created his reality. So guard your tongue. Speak only what you want multiplied. Train your mouth to prophesy your destiny, not your defeat. But words alone are not enough. Rituals turn belief into muscle. The greats live by patterns, morning routines, training schedules, study habits, rituals that anchor their vision into daily action. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. It is proof to the universe that you are ready for what you ask. And repetition is the mother of mastery. The pianist plays scales until the keys sing under his touch. The fighter throws the same punch 10,000 times until it lands without thought. The leader delivers the same message until it becomes an unshakable movement. Repetition rewires the brain. Repetition engraves belief into bone. So never despise the grind. The grind is the furnace. The grind is the blessing. The grind is where men are separated from legends. But belief without vision is blind, and vision without courage is useless. You must dare. Dare to see beyond your circumstances. Dare to imagine what has never been done. Dare to speak what others call impossible. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. Fear will always walk with you, but you decide if it leads or follows. The greats feel fear and move anyway. They turn fear into fuel. They let adrenaline sharpen their senses instead of paralyze their hearts. When the world shouts, "Sit down," courage whispers, "Stand up." When fear says, "Turn back," courage answers, "Press forward." When the voice says, "You're alone," courage reminds you, every giant once stood alone. This is how legacies are born. And yet legacy is not built in one moment of courage, but in the daily grind of resilience. Resilience, the stubborn refusal to stay down. You will be knocked down. You will fail. You will be betrayed, overlooked, forgotten, but resilience rises. Resilience says, "Is that all you've got?" Resilience turns scars into armor, wounds into wisdom, setbacks into setups. It is not about how hard you can hit. It is about how many times you can be hit and still rise. Every empire is built on ruins. Every masterpiece is painted over mistakes. Every champion is forged in defeat. So do not hide your scars. They are your credentials. They are proof that you survived the fire. And the world respects scars more than perfection. But resilience without patience burns out, and patience without urgency becomes laziness. You must master both, patience to endure, urgency to act. Patience whispers, "Trust the process." Urgency shouts, "Time is short, move now." Together they create balance, the ability to keep grinding while knowing when to strike. History rewards those who act at the right moment. Napoleon, Lincoln, Jobs all seized moments that others overlooked. And when your moment comes, you must not hesitate, because hesitation kills, opportunities vanish. Doors close, windows slam shut. Better to leap and stumble than to stand still and rot. But here is the paradox. You cannot leap unless you have faith. Faith is not blind. It is bold. It is the decision to trust your wings before you see the ground. It is the conviction that destiny will meet you halfway if you take the first step. Faith moves mountains because faith digs with bloody hands until the mountain crumbles. And when faith is anchored in vision, fueled by discipline, strengthened by resilience, sharpened by clarity, nothing can stop it, not even time. Because the truth is, time is the battlefield. Most men waste it. They drift. They kill hours, days, years. They wait for the perfect moment that never comes. They live as if time is endless, yet cry when it runs dry. But the greats, they count every second. They guard their time like treasure. They do not waste it on gossip, on envy, on distractions. They invest it. Every minute spent on vision compounds into destiny. You cannot buy time, but you can multiply its value. One focused hour can defeat 10 scattered days. So guard your hours, guard your focus, guard your life, because every wasted moment is a debt you cannot repay. And when you finally understand the value of time, urgency becomes natural. You no longer wait, you no longer procrastinate, you no longer delay, you move, you act, you create. And with each act, your legacy takes form, because in the end, that is the question. What will outlive you? Will it be comfort or will it be contribution? Will it be excuses or will it be impact? Will it be a whisper or will it be an echo through eternity? The choice is yours. But remember, legacy is not carved on tombstones. Legacy is carved in the lives you touch, the battles you fight, the truths you refuse to betray. And legacy begins now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. Every action you take today writes your story. Every decision you make today builds your monument. Every belief you choose today declares who you are becoming. So rise, rise with clarity, rise with purpose, rise with faith, because history is waiting. And when it calls your name, you must be ready to answer with fire in your voice, steel in your spine, and thunder in your heart. I am the greatest, not because the world said it, but because I believed it when no one else did. But let me tell you something that most men forget. Greatness is not a destination. It is not a medal. It is not a belt, a title, or a headline. Greatness is a decision you make every single day. When the alarm rings at 5 a.m., greatness asks, will you rise or will you roll over? When temptation calls, greatness whispers, will you stay true or will you surrender? When failure mocks you, greatness demands, will you try again or will you quit? Greatness is forged in the ordinary moments, not just the extraordinary ones. It hides in your discipline, in your habits, in your choices. When no one is watching, that is why so few ever touch it, because they think greatness is something that strikes like lightning. But the truth is, greatness is a flame you feed day after day until it becomes an inferno the world cannot ignore. And here is the final truth. The world does not need another copy. The world does not need another echo. The world needs your fire, your vision, your fight. Not his, not hers, not mine, yours. Because the greatest tragedy is not death. The greatest tragedy is to die never having lived as who you truly are. To spend your years chasing comfort instead of destiny. To silence your own song and leave the world in silence. No, rise. Rise as you. Rise with your scars, your strength, your story. Rise with your belief that you are not here to merely exist. You are here to reign. And when doubt comes, and it will, look it in the eye and declare, I am chosen. I am called. I am built for this. When fear tightens its grip, break free and roar. I was born to do the impossible. When the world tries to bury you in shadows, shine brighter and proclaim, I am the greatest, not tomorrow, not one day, now. Because in the end, the world remembers not the cautious, but the courageous, not the hesitant, but the relentless, not the ones who waited, but the ones who dared. So dare. Dare to believe when no one else does. Dare to stand when everyone else bows. Dare to become what history will never forget. And when the final bell rings, when your time on this earth is done, when the world speaks your name, let them not whisper, let them shout. Let them tell the story of the one who walked among them with the fire of 1,000 suns, with the conviction of destiny, with the voice that shook the heavens and the earth. Let them say of you what Ali made the world say of him. He was the greatest. But more than that, let them know you believed it before anyone else did, because that is where greatness begins. Not in the applause, not in the trophies, not in the recognition. It begins in the unseen, unshakable belief that echoes through your soul, I am the greatest.